Hey folks, I'm testing this out now because I'm down to my wits' end to see what is going on with this Facebook. Holy cow! Facebook Live has not been working for me here very much today. So this is about the last effort I'm going to do. So I need to know if you guys are actually seeing this or not. And of course, I do want to welcome everybody. Nothing else, I'm going to try this out here, and you guys let me know, for those of you who actually do watch it, whether or not anything is going on that is worth doing this again. But I do want to welcome the new members: Christopher Abram, Mary G. Burchett Pack, Nathan Griggs, welcome. Louis Irizarry, welcome. Paige and James Brown, of course, are heavy into it. And Trevor Hamblin, Jose Ochoa, Mark Neer, Bob Lamonico, Jack McDonald, Henry Kennedy, Ryan Troutman, Jeff Jason, Raymond Pensasco, Ryan Lee Wallen, Kierman Pashev, Osvaldo Alfonso, Osama Al-Bajari, and Jose Barraza. Those are the new members, folks. We want to welcome them in. Those names are always a tongue twister for me half the time because I'm never really good at names. So I just wanted to make sure that I did cover some of this. But I am trying to see if this live broadcast is working. I'm not sure if it's a Facebook thing or what's going on here. But it's been pretty choppy and glitchy. So if this is not coming through to you folks and it's all glitchy, by all means, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this so I know what's going on, whether or not it's actually working, because I'm just not coming through to you folks and it's all glitchy. By all means, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on this so I know. So it does sound like it is working and coming through pretty good. At least on the phone, it's working. So I'm just going to carry on smartly with this and do cover it. Autonomous cars, reason I brought that up was because I've been seeing some articles that were being discussed about autonomous cars because our politicians are talking about rewriting rules for them. But I was thinking about the future on autonomous cars, and you guys can figure it out. But I've seen over my years that we're changing the way we do things, and I also see trade skills falling by the wayside, okay? And I'm going to equate it to that, to find, say, somebody that knows how to operate a manual lathe is next to impossible sometimes for manufacturing. So my question is, we got these autonomous cars, so 20 years from now, our grandkids, great-grandkids, get into a car. They tell the car, hey, car, take me home. Something goes wrong. Do they know how to drive it? What are the safety aspects in that? Okay, is there a need for a manual control? And will the drivers that are operating, thank you, that are operating the cars even have the capabilities to actually drive the car? That's my question. Something goes wrong. Can they grab the wheel and drive it? Or are they going to be totally clueless? Okay? Again, where are we going with this? I'm not saying it's not a good thing. You know what? If somebody told me I could get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, get in my car at 4, tell car, take me to my next client, give them the address, and keep back with my laptop or even sleep, I'd go for it, okay? That's really what I would do. I get to sleep. Just say, no more tired drivers. If I had to leave earlier because it was going to drive cautiously, that's fine. I could sleep, and I would enjoy it. So that would really make me happy on that for the autonomous version of what's going on with that. And that's really what I would aim for. But again, the loss of the knowledge, the ability in the just a way to do the hands-on driving. Are we going down a road where nobody will know how to drive a car in the future? Is it good? Is it bad? Just food for thought. So I just thought I'd toss that out there. Moving on, MKX project. I know I've never done any videos on the MKX. I know we talk about the MKX a lot, and I have a member here on the group that has an MKX that needs a good amount of maintenance, fluid changes of all the fluids, and of course some spark plug changes. It's got about 100,000 miles on it. So I have offered to meet with him and help, and we're going to videotape that, and we're going to get as much done as possible, but we're going to aim for the spark plug change first. It is a MKX, and it has that 3.7 in it. So this will be a first for me as far as the 3.7, which is nothing more than a bored out 3.5, but it is also an MKX. So this will be something new for you, the viewer, to actually watch and see what's going on there. And I think that'll be interesting in the in that part. But we're also going to do some something I haven't done, and I think we're aiming for a transmission drain and fill 3X. Right? We're going to drain it, fill it. Drain it, fill it, drain it, fill it. We're going to shoot. And I plan on taking some plastic cups and showing you the stages of the transmission fluid compared to our set sample of new fluid. And we're going to watch that color change. And, you guys can bet amongst yourselves, will the fluid look red like the original sample, or will it still be a little bit dark? So, is the 3X or is it a 4X? I do know for a fact you will not get 100% change out with a 3 times drain and fill. You're going to be close, 85-90%, but you're still going to have some old fluid in there. So it ain't going to be 100%. So that's really what I aim to show and prove to everybody, that the 3X drain and fill isn't going to achieve it. Neither is the transfer machine that I have had used on my Edge. It's not 100% either, folks. Okay, it's just the nature of the beast. You're not going to get 100%, but that's what we're aiming for, along with brake bleeding, power steering fluid, and of course maybe coolant and things like that. So we're going to aim for a lot of different things going on here, and there's a lot of work to do. Do some inspection breaks and all this other stuff, but we're going to aim for what we can get done on this MKX project. Now I will tell you, if you are members and you do live around the area of Indianapolis, and if you do see fit that you want to come do a little meet and greet with me, that is fine. We can do that. I will be arriving in Indianapolis Monday night, early evening, 6 o'clock or so, 7 I think. I don't know what time it will be exactly, but I will be there all the way through Friday, okay? And I will be at the members' place of his garage or wherever it's going to be at, and we will be working on his MKX at his shop starting Friday morning, probably about 7 o'clock or so. See what we can get done before I have to head home for the drive home in the afternoon. So we're going to try to get as much done as possible, working, of course, fast, but working carefully. But we're going to go ahead and do that and make sure that we can take and get all this done with his Edge. Now, the topic of discussion I want you all to understand. I did a video on carbon monoxide, and I know Matthew Warren posted an article about the Explorers, and it centered around this cop that said he was poisoned by carbon monoxide, and there's class action suits and all this other stuff. I don't know what the results of these class actions are. I don't know what they're doing with it, but I am going to tell you, the article I was reading, to me, was, I'm going to say it was a lie. And I say this with quotations, in the fact that the article was a lie because of the omission of fact. Okay? They didn't put a lot of stuff in there. First of all, I'm going to say, the Ford Edge I have documented with this machine. This is a carbon monoxide detector. It's a pump. It's used by firemen, it's used by utility companies, and it gives you real-time, on-demand carbon monoxide measuring. I measured my Ford Edge with this device, and it came out to about 1,600 parts per million carbon monoxide out the tailpipe. Okay, that was under idle. Okay, it was not acceleration or anything else, but you know, that gives you a good idea, because quite frankly, the faster you go, the more air that's pumped into the system and is ran through the system. So one would assume that, yeah, the carbon monoxide might go up, but it might go down too at an RPM range, because you're pumping more air through the system. So it's all give and take on that. But I will say that you know, everybody that's complaining about it, carbon monoxide, you know, if you're going through here, I'm going to also tell you one thing, folks. Carbon monoxide is odorless. You can't smell it. So what you're smelling is the byproducts of the car burning and going, you know, gasoline, the oils, everything else in there. And I'm going to tell you this straight up. It also, when you take and accelerate your edge, you're taking a dump in raw fuel into catalytic converters. A catalytic converter that is overheated and overworked is going to smell like sulfur. That's right, overheated, overworked equals sulfur. That's because it can't expel it fast enough, folks. You're running it hard. And I'm getting to this cop here. Now, I'm getting there. But as far as I know, okay, when I accelerate, I can get my catalytic converter to a temperature range of anywhere from 16 to almost 1800 degrees. And I don't know if you guys know this, but a catalytic converter starts melting down and destroying itself at approximately 2000 degrees Fahrenheit. So, going back on that, in order to get that much carbon monoxide into your edge, through your body system of the edge, through the vents or anything else, you would literally have to have your tailpipe connected to a hose and run it into your edge, because quite frankly, I've been in facilities with 400 parts per million and everybody was working all day. Okay, 400 parts per million. The EPA limit is 9 and the ocean limit is 50 for an all-day exposure. And these guys were in 400 parts per million. Okay, so nobody's passed out, no, you know, none of this stuff. So I know the exposure rates, I've experienced, I've been in it. So for this to come in. Now, the other thing I want to say, I know this is a long rant, but I just want to explain this because everybody seems to think they're going to die. They're not going to die, okay? You can undergo a fair amount of carbon monoxide without any ill effects for a while. But my whole point is, this cop was saying he was driving his car, responding, okay? And it suddenly filled up with carbon monoxide, made him pass out and crash. I'm gonna put on my investigator hat, and I'm gonna tell you something smells stupid here. Okay, I'm gonna tell you straight up, this guy's lying. Okay, he was driving too fast. He crashed his Explorer. He didn't want to pay for damages or get cited by the police department for reckless driving and having to pay for it back or even getting fired. So he claims that the Explorer had so many gases in it that he lost consciousness and crashed. Think about that. Okay? I'm going to tell you something. They also said they tested his blood and nothing was in his blood and everything else. I'm going to tell you about blood samples too, folks. When you have carbon monoxide in your blood, it changes your blood from running oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules on your hemoglobin that transfer through your body. Carbon monoxide has a bonding capability of 200 times stronger than oxygen and carbon dioxide molecules do. So, when it bonds on there, just think of this. If you get one breath of carbon monoxide in your body and then you exhale it, you'll have to exhale and inhale 200 times to break that bond, one inhale of carbon monoxide. Now, if he was in there doing that, they could have run a blood test on him and found that he had what we call carboxyhemoglobin. they would have told right away that he had carbon monoxide in his system. So I'm going to tell you, this article is a lie based on omissions of fact. Okay? They're trying to get you guys scared of this, and it is not that bad. I ran my Ford Edge with the hatch open with the carbon monoxide detector. This one, sucking in the air, and the highest I got was like 5 parts per million. I did everything I could to make my Edge a danger, and couldn't get it done. Okay? So, you know, that's my rant on it, I guess you want to say. And then they said, oh, we ran meters inside there, folks. That's what they ran. Okay? Or something very similar to this. I have this too. I put this on people when they go inside of box containers with fork trucks on semi-trailers. It has an alarm set at 35 parts per million. The article said, oh, it was alarming off. 35 parts per million is not even the OSHA limit of 50. These things ring off at 35 parts per million. It's a personal carbon monoxide detector. They wear it when they drive the fork trucks to see what the levels are. I've been inside those containers, measured them with this and with this pump, and I was in there for 5 minutes with a fork truck running, picking up pallets, and it took 5 minutes for it to actually register 100 parts per million carbon monoxide. And that's with a fork truck that was spewing out well over my measurement capabilities of 2,200 parts per million carbon monoxide. Okay, so what I'm saying is just because you feel you have an odor in your car does not mean you have an exposure. I do testing all the time. People tell me, hey, we got carbon monoxide or we got paint fumes. I smell paint fumes, therefore I'm being exposed to noxious chemicals. The presence of odor does not indicate poisoning. Just because your nose can smell it doesn't mean you do, because everything has an odor to it, folks. Otherwise, that banana bread my wife's baking upstairs, it's not poisonous. It's bad for me, but it's not poisonous, right? Okay, so I'm just trying to make a point. That's enough of my soapbox on that. But I just wanted to bring this out to everybody on this carbon monoxide issue. I'm not saying you're not getting carbon monoxide. If you watch my video, there is carbon monoxide in my Edge, but it's from the other cars. It's coming in through the vents. From all the cars in the heavy traffic, their exhaust is around you, it's going to get into your Edge. And it's not from your Edge. Think about that. It's coming in through your ducts that you're running on non-recirc. It's sucking it in through the hood from all the other cars around you, spewing out all their carbon monoxide. And that's a fact. Okay, so I'm going to leave it at that, and of course go from there. But that's my rant on this whole thing. I just wanted to let you all know how I felt about it. But you know, we got a lot of other work. Tyler Stover, of course, as always, is doing an excellent job on working on his Edge in the PTU, and he has some pretty excellent fluid change going on there. And of course, he is doing a great job. Y'all need to follow his example on this. And then Paige and James Brown, they're having a heck of a time. We're trying to help them narrow it down, but you know what? Sometimes video doesn't even help. But we do detect that the Edge is turning over, and I did caution them about cranking that starter over so many times and so long. You'll burn that starter up to there, James. So watch what you're doing there. But spray some ether in there or something. See if that thing pops when you spray it in. If you spray some of that, like they said, some of that ether in there and it pops, then you have a fuel delivery problem, and you need to start tracing your fuel pump and fuel pressures and get a fuel pressure gauge, and either that or crawl under there, crank it over, and beat on the bottom of that fuel tank and see if that fuel pump will kick in. And if it does, then you know you got a fuel pump problem too, because you've changed everything else. But you're gonna have to step back and be methodical on it. It seemed to me, nothing. James, I know you're probably in a hurry to get this truck running, but by golly, you're gonna have to step back, think about it, take a break, and evaluate step by step each process. Okay, have to do everything methodical and verifiable. So once you get that done, I'm pretty sure you'll find your problem. And like some of the other folks on this page will tell you, sometimes you got to take a breath, you got to step back and think about what you're doing. We don't, throwing parts at it ain't going to fix it. You got to make sure you know what parts to put on it to fix it. So you got to verify what the problem is. And a good code reader will also help you with that. So, that's in sincerity. We're trying to help you there, James. But, it's tough, without actually being there, standing over the engine and looking at systems. But just keep asking the questions. We'll get it narrowed down as much as we can with you and your work on it too. So, as with all things, we got Cole Winsett. He's, of course, got an issue with his transmission. It could be plugs and coils. He's already placed the TSS and OSS sensors. Could be a couple other issues on there. Hopefully not a PCM issue. Just need to take again and be methodical on this and make sure that you do cover as much as you can with it there. So, Cole, keep at it and keep going through it. And of course, he's got a couple update. Seal isn't a bad job. Definitely helpful having two sets of hands. And he went to a O'Reilly Auto Parts tool rental and got himself a 5-pound slide hammer and a pilot bearing puller. So apparently he's doing some good work on that aspect too. And hey, can't stress enough, folks. Renting the parts is cheaper than buying them. But I did go to Harbor Freight, and that brake caliper tool I was using, Harbor Freight sells that tool for $49.95. So if you ever thought you wanted to get one, $50 will get it for you, and then you'll have it. Okay, I went and changed my oil, 15,000 miles on my AMS oil. Drained it, took 2 samples, shipped them off the same day, so I'll be getting those results back. If you guys are wondering, it's a 15 to 25,000 mile oil filter, and the oil's supposed to be good for 25,000 miles or so. Now I had quite a few hours on it. Okay, almost 280 hours on the oil, and of course we're getting that tested by Blackstone and another person, and then I will get the results back to you on that oil to see where it's at. I was a quart low, and that's all because of the PCV and the breather and all that stuff is sucking the oil out. But I've always had all my edges use oil. Okay, it's not inherent just to this model. The first gen 2008 I had used oil too. Just the way it is. They just do it. So anyway, got that changed out, and while I was doing that, I had the mechanic there. He was changing out my tires, and I tell you what, I got those Michelin Premier LTX tires installed, and I'm going to tell you all right up front, okay, if these things continue riding the way they are, I am forever a Michelin Premier LTX fan. Okay, I'll never buy Bridgestones again. After just riding these for like 20 miles, these are the smoothest, best handling tires I've ever had on an edge, other than my wife's Latitudes. Okay, but these have better traction. I almost guarantee it. They're a better tire. I don't know what to say. I'm going to have a 1,000-mile run here this week. I'll have more information on them, how they handle on the interstate and everything else. But right now, my initial impression on those Michelin Premier LTXs is they are outstanding tires. And I got a lot of miles under my behind, so I'm thinking that says a lot on that aspect, and I'm impressed with them. They are pricey, but they are excellent tires in my opinion. I actually can't wait to get in and drive my car some more. That is how much better they ride and they handle. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, the changeover was great, and having those chrome clads ripped off of there, my wheel balancing and everything, even with the higher quality tires, was very little weight, and they balanced almost spot on every time on the first rounds. So, you know, getting those chrome clads off of there was definitely an assist as far as getting those things changed out. But that's what I have done. Oil's changed, new filter, ready to go for the road trip, and then I got new tires, and my winter tires, of course, are put in storage, because quite frankly, driving Blizzaks in 60-70 degree heat is going to wear those Blizzaks out in a heartbeat. So you want to get those winter tires off if it gets too warm. Let's see, what else do we got? We have a Ford Edge falling in a sinkhole. I don't know if is that a real picture or is that a Photoshop? I'm telling you, that looks fake to me, folks. But, you know, who am I? It just looks fake. Nick Alstead, apparently he needs to strap a 55-gallon drum on the back of his Edge just so he can pass the next gas station. I don't know. I thought that 2.7 was supposed to get a little better gas mileage than that. But then again, it depends how deep in the gas pedal you are, don't it? Nick. Anyway, yeah, you gotta have fun while you're driving it. I did take my, NGK Iridium spark plugs back to the store, got a refund for them, and then turned around and bought some SP520 Motorcraft spark plugs for my 2011, because quite frankly, the NGKs that I bought were gapped at 41 thousandths, and I needed 51 thousandths for the gapping on the plugs, and I wasn't going to try to bend them. So I just took them back, and I went back to the old tried and true Motorcraft SP520s, which have never let me down. So again, they won't let you down either. So when I do my videos, it's going to be Motorcraft SP520s, folks, in the 2011. So that is what we're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get that Ford Ranger, and that thing takes 8 spark plugs for a 4-cylinder. Holy cow. That's a lot of spark plugs, folks, especially for a 4-cylinder. So I don't know if you guys are looking forward to Ford Ranger videos, but get ready. They're coming. As soon as I pick that thing up, we're going to start having some maintenance done on it, and I'm going to start tossing some Ford Ranger videos out there. Yeah, just in time for the upcoming Ford Ranger that's due to be released in a year or two, right? So we're going to be seeing that. Let's see, Tyler Stover. Buddy, lock up that quick jack. Yes, lock it up, because if I'm anywhere in your neighborhood, I'm putting it in the back of my Edge. Oh, I love those things. Wow, those things are sweet. Although they are $1,000 a pop, but I tell you what, to have one of those, we all wish we did. So we're going to make sure. What does that say? It was a post of the size of sinkholes around the world, and it caught my eye. That's David. David posted that. So I don't know. I guess it may be true then. So Edges can fill sinkholes just as good as VWs, right? So we go there. And you all saw I posted some videos on the brake tool and the windshield wipers, and I had fun doing the windshield wiper one. Yeah, it was just fun. I've always sat back. I'm never going to do a windshield wiper video. Everybody does a windshield wiper video. I did one, okay? Now, check the block. It's out the door. I doubt I'll ever do another windshield wiper video. But, you know what, I guess it's a rite of passage of some sort. But anyway, I did get that done, and of course, if you found it good and fun, and then so did I. I just did it that way. But I also did the Fumoto valve. That one seems to be picking up a lot of interest as far as the Fumoto. I tell you what, it was slick to install. You know, it costs more than buying a new plug, but you know what? I look forward to getting my oil samples now. All I do is flick that lever, and boy, I can fill up 2 ounces of fluid. I don't even have to bat an eye. I don't just crawl under there and fill it up, and off I go. I can mail it off, and I don't even have to break out a wrench. I just slide under there and do it. So, you know, to me, that's a good deal. So, $20, whatever it was it cost, but I put a link to the description, so by all means, you guys read the descriptions under the videos. I put the links in there, and that'll answer a lot of your questions. Let's see what else we got. David Bornoff, he's been out running canyons with his Edge. You look at those outer tie rod boots. You know, the only way you could break those things up is you out there climbing rocks with that thing. Holy cow, David. No, just kidding. It's like a 2010, and I'm sure that weather has gotten to those rubber boots, and he says they're in good shape, and I don't doubt they were, but once the boots go, we all know rocks, sand, dirt, and everything else gets in there, and eventually those ball ends wear out, and then next thing you know, you're driving both directions down the road, right? So we want to get those things changed so we don't have accidents that way. But otherwise, we got a couple other. We got Jose Sanchez Cheo. He's apparently got an engine temperature thing going on, and I'm not really following. I'm sorry, Jose. I just lost track of what's going on there. But if they're telling you to check your fans and stuff, by all means, fans are very common for failure. So if only one is starting up, from what I saw you write, then you got an issue with fans, and you probably have to replace your fans. So it's not uncommon, but whatever you do, Jose, don't buy a Dorman or anything else. Buy an OEM Motorcraft fan, and then you will be assured it will work. Otherwise, you're taking chances, and you'll be very dissatisfied and still end up buying an OEM Motorcraft fan anyway. So, you know, cut the bowl and just go right to the OEM and call it a day. Volney Boswell, of course, I did not change my coils, but what you did see me do, Volney, was I did change my Bank 1 coils to the Bank 2 side, and I changed the Bank 2 coils to the Bank 1 side. That's exactly what I did on my last spark plug change. Why? Because the Bank 1s get a lot more heat, so why not give them a break, put them up front where it's a little cooler, and get a little air, and then move the Bank 2s to the Bank 1 where they've been having a great run, and let them do a little bit of the heat work. So that's what I did. But I do have new coils that I will be installing on my Edge when I do the spark plug change here in the very near future, I hope. Let's see, Alan James. Yep, Alan, guess what? You drive into a headwind, you're going to lose your gas mileage. Tried and true. Done it many times. Sucks that gas tank nice and empty real quick. Heath Bickles doesn't know what car to drive. Apparently he's got 3 choices, but he loves to drive his Edge, and then he also loves to bicker about it. But either way, he still drives it every day. And I'm a poet. Anyway, he's got a whole parking lot full of Edges there, or vehicles rather. So of course the Edge is his primary transportation for work. And then we got Lee Wood, who's having just cats and conniptions and fits and everything else. He took his very well running Edge into the garage, and the Ford dealer promptly erased all his codes out of his keys, and now his Edge won't run. Oh, I'm glad that ain't me. All I can say, Lee, is you're the patience of a saint if you ain't been going ballistic over that. You know, that's a faux You know, I don't know how else to say that. I hope it works out. I hope they get it fixed. Boy, I'd be asking for some verification on everything they did. I'd want computer printouts showing the you know, where it says there's an error in something. I'd be demanding all this computer stuff. They can do screen prints on this stuff, buddy. They can definitely do that. They have the capability, so I wouldn't let them pull your leg on that one. That's a bunch of, as they say, BS. So we go there. Got a lot of new pictures, a lot of people posting, a lot of things everywhere. So we're having all sorts of fun with the group and the page. And of course, this is my live broadcast tonight, so you guys will probably see it tomorrow. But let's see, Charity Jackson finally returned, and then she parked Henry in front of Annie, and then they antagonized each other in front of the sunset. I think that's just a love-hate relationship there. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, horsepower against horsepower in that one. But glad you're back and taking pictures again. And, of course, having a great time with that and fine pictures. If you all want to know how to take pictures of your Edge to put them on the banner, follow Charity or Kevin Messner. And I will want to put a jab in there for Kevin Messner. His music is primarily being featured on most of my videos now, folks. I like his music. You guys should like it. Go to his Facebook page and help support him and his music and creativity. He's a good musician. For one guy, he makes all the music, folks. Everything. So that's a talent right there. That is a talent. Ryan, he got an '08 MKX. Previous owner just said it needed a transmission. And Ryan, I'm afraid you're probably going to end up putting a tranny in that thing. It doesn't sound like it's going good for the home team at this point. So that may be something you need to definitely pursue. Let's see. Burnout light bulb sockets. Yes, Kevin Hamilton, they do burn. Me, I just threw new bulbs in them and then put them back in the socket and carried on. If they work, they work. If they stop working, then I'd buy a new socket. But other than that, I just put the new bulbs in the burn socket and they worked. It's just, I'm sure the plastic gets brittle from being so hot, but as long as they function and they seep back in and you're good and you got light, I wouldn't worry about it. Nothing's bad's going to happen so far, and there's been no reported fires because of it that I can remember, so I think you're good to go. But anyway, see, Dan looked at a Ford Focus. I'm looking at a Ford Ranger. We're just changing everything all up here, so camera has been fixed, I guess, and installed according to Kay Arellano. And of course, he had an issue with a part or something, I think, is on that. And then, of course, some emblems and things have been coming up missing, being knocked off by rocks and all that other good stuff. But other than that, I think I've pretty much gotten through a few things. I did post a video, short clip, just on Facebook group. It is not on YouTube. The location of the crankshaft position sensor on the 3.5 Duratec Ford Edge Gen 1 through 1.5, and then of course the 15 plus, if it's a 3.5, would have the same position. And that little booger is hid right up there behind that catalytic converter, which makes it really fun to get to behind that heat shield. So if you didn't know where it's at, I pointed out where it is at in the video. Real short clip, but hopefully it helps you. If you ever decide you want to get up in there and go work on it, you know where it's at now. So I'm just trying to be helpful on that. But other than that, this is MACT, guys, and of course, gals. I'm just going to call it a close today. It's been a long day trying to get all this done and get up and running, and apparently I had some failures. But anyway, don't forget, run over here to this Facebook group. Tell all your friends and other co-workers that have Ford Edges to join this group. And of course, also go to YouTube channel, subscribe to that, and ring the bell. Click on that bell and get notified of all the videos that are coming up. And my feet hit the floor today, and I'm having a great day. And if I do post this video up on YouTube, there will be some Mercy Grill and music following this. Have a great day.
Car repair is fun.